Welcome back to Buzz TV. I'm Howard Wolpoff, your host. It is election time here in Jacksonville. There's a lot of different races going on. Today we have the opportunity to talk about City Council and specifically District 14. We have Jimmy Peluso, who's a candidate, and he's going to tell us all about why you should vote for Jimmy Peluso and better Jacksonville for the future. Jimmy, welcome to the Buzz.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I really enjoy this program, and I really appreciate you guys letting me come on to the show.
That's our pleasure. So you decided to run for City Council.
I did.
What was behind that decision?
So I grew up here in Jacksonville, and in growing up here, especially in the 90s and the 2000s, as a kid, we kept hearing the same things about moving us forward, about how we're going to do the Better Jacksonville plan, we're going to get the Super Bowl, we're going to be this great big city. And it felt like we kept kind of falling short. We didn't execute the plan effectively. And I feel like we as a city just kind of held back a bit. And so when I left to go to college, and then I eventually joined the U.S. Navy, and I was an active duty officer for 6 years, I saw what other cities were doing because I sort of lived throughout the country,
Sure.
Philadelphia, San Diego, and I noticed that, wow, these places kind of figured it out. Yet none of them had nearly the amount of potential that Jacksonville does. We've got a beautiful river, excellent weather, great cost of living, and it's just people are nicer here. People want to live here, I feel like. And so for me it was, well, what are we doing wrong? And it felt like we have the same names and the same faces up in City Hall that we did in the 80s and the 90s, and it just feels like we need some new blood up there. So I'm a younger candidate, but I'm somebody who has actual military experience. I've been a public servant my entire life. When I got out of the Navy, I worked for the Water Management District, and I worked in government affairs, so I was up in Tallahassee. I understand state policy, state government, how that works. I understand how we interact with the counties and the municipalities. And so I believe that I offer something that no other candidate does, which is a lifetime of public service, and I want to continue that service.
So what about District 14 excites you, and what kind of issues do you see fighting for them as you move forward?
Well, frankly, District 14 is the best district. Of course I'm going to say that. So we have Riverside, Avondale, Murray Hill, Ortega, right outside of NAS Jax, and then we have Argyle Forest. So it's a very unique district, and it lines the entire St. Johns River, which is fantastic. Yes. So we all care about the river, which is a huge part of my campaign. But also we have a ton of veterans, and we have a ton of young people, and we have a ton of established neighborhoods. And I feel like here in Jacksonville, because of the way we've grown, we grow out too much. And in growing out, I feel like we're losing a sense of what being a city is really all about. And so I really want to make sure that as we grow as a city, we're growing up and we're not growing out. I want to go into areas like downtown and some of the parts that we've sort of neglected over the years. That's where I feel like we should be trying to move developers to put projects in the ground. And so for the neighborhoods like District 14 has, where we have sort of a sense of community already, I'm trying to make it so that those neighborhoods are able to sort of continue to build on their resurgence like they have been doing, while also making sure that there's not too much growth in those areas that's going to cause more traffic or cause more consternation. Because if you go to certain parts of my district, you will see a ton of cars sitting on Blanding Boulevard and Roosevelt Boulevard and Park Street, and it really sort of upsets some residents. But also we want to make sure that we are pushing to make sure more young people want to move into the district, especially in the Riverside and Avondale and Murray Hill area, where we have new businesses that are starting to blossom, and I really want to make sure we're pushing those to be successful.
So you've kind of been working towards this throughout your career. You've had this interest, you've been involved in politics, involved in different campaigns, and so this is you and your growth. This is not just the swarm of young people just trying to get involved in the politics.
No, I think, for me, it's about who can do best for their community. So it's not so much that it's just about Jimmy Peluso running for office. It's about finding an opportunity and feeling like I can offer something new. When I first grew up here, I felt like I was a bit of an outsider, that maybe no one else thought about the city the way I did. And then when I came back to Jacksonville to live here permanently, I noticed that as I'm talking with residents, when I would say things like, wow, Jacksonville's got a problem with transportation, or why don't we do more with our downtown, or are our veterans really getting the services they need? People would say, wow, that's a really good question, or I think you're right, I think we need to do more with that. And so all of a sudden it became, no one's talking about the things that I feel like a lot of people want to see move forward in this city. And now it's less about, I think, that we are a more conservative city, or that people are just sort of reluctant to see change. I feel like a lot of people want to see some really cool, really big things happen here in Jacksonville. We just need someone up at City Hall to put their foot on the gas.
So what is the best way for people to find out more about your campaign so you can be driving that car?
All right. Well, if you go to jimmyforjax.com, or if you go on my Facebook page, you can go on there and learn way more about the issues that I'm pushing and that I'm supporting. And you could also find out ways to communicate with the campaign. We're also canvassing almost every Saturday, so please take a look at those and come out to our events.
Well, thank you so much for coming today. Thank you so much for sharing your vision for the city of Jacksonville, and best of luck in this campaign.
Hey, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
All right.
March is coming. Go out, get all the information you need on all the candidates. Definitely look up Jimmy's website and learn more about him. Obviously, he has some very solid ideas for Jacksonville, and we look forward to seeing how these play out, and just be involved. So go out, have a great day today, and we'll see you next time on Buzz TV.